Good morning, everyone. In accordance with sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. Before I continue with my remarks, I'd like to make a few introductions. First, our panel. On my far left is Ms. Natalia Popovic. On my near left is Ms. Laura Alderson. On my near right is Ms. Sophia Ruddock. And on my far right is Mr. Bill Dalton. We have our Assistant Deputy Secretary Treasurer, Ms. Barbara Bartosik, at the far left end of this desk. And we have Barbara's and our support staff in front of us and at the right end of this desk. My name's Donald Taylor, and I'll be chairing the hearing this morning. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning that applies to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. We acknowledge the land we're meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Committee of Adjustment public hearings are now conducted in a hybrid in-person and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person, and others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform. The meetings are also streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone and have the option of participating via video or audio only. All virtual participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. We also ask that you mute your devices until you're called on to speak. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelist when your item is being held. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You will only be visible during your 5-minute allotted speaking time. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as an attendee. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Those participating through WebEx are not allowed to use share screen or any other panelist controls during a video appearance. The host will remove you from the panelist role if you fail to respect this instruction. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address, because the Committee of Adjustment and the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons, and public bodies, as those terms are defined in the Planning Act, are permitted to appeal decisions of the Committee of Adjustment. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. Our hearing procedure is that I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda, with the exception of items where the applicant has requested deferral, in which case we will dispense with those up front and then resume to the regular agenda. Where an application is uncontested, The agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions and/or take the matter into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5 minutes. Any presentations or other materials you wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept materials at the hearing. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address. Also, please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee on the application. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised to ensure the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes. Then, individuals, either in support of or opposed to the application, will be invited to speak. Generally, we first call on speakers in the hearing room and then those participating through WebEx. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion. The application will then be taken into committee for a decision. Before hearing our first item today, we require confirmation of the minutes of the last meeting, which was held on January 15th. Could I have such a motion, please?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Popovic. And is there a seconder?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Alderson. All in favor? Okay, the minutes of the meeting held on January 15th are now adopted. I will ask firstly of the panel, are there any declarations of interest on any items on this morning's agenda? None? Thank you. And staff, the same question. Do you have any declarations of interest? None. Thank you. Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer, have you received any requests for deferral?
Mr. Chair, not so much a request for deferral, but item 1, variance 4 is missing this actual variance, so it would have to be deferred to give proper notice.
Okay. Thank you. And Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer, are there any files that need to be closed today?
None today, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay, so let's deal then with the deferral item. Number 1, 79 JEFFCOAT Drive. The agent is Ida Evangelista. Ms. Evangelista, are you available to speak with us?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members. Ida Evangelista on behalf of the owners of 79 JEFFCOAT Drive.
Thank you. So you're aware of the need to defer this because I think one of the variances wasn't stated properly?
I am, Mr. Chair.
And we're sorry about that. I know you've already received a letter of apology, but we do apologize and glad that you're understanding of the need to do this. And we'll see you.
Just brings me back in front of you next month.
Yep. And we'll see you on another item in a few minutes. Correct? Yes, I'm correct. Okay. So we need a motion to defer item number 1.
I'm happy to make that motion because
Thank
it is
you,
an
Ms.
automatic
Alderson.
deferral. I move that we defer it till the next available meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Alderson. Ms. Ruddick seconds. Thank you. All in favor? Okay, item 1 has been deferred to a future agenda. So now we can move on to the regular scheduled items, starting with number 2. 2020 Shepherd Avenue West. Purpose of this application is to conduct interior alterations to the existing building in order to facilitate a new basement level amenity suite, a new multi-purpose room, and a new apartment management office. There are 2 variances. We have no comments or conditions from agencies. We have no written public expressions of interest in this one. Panel, are we agreeable to treating this as straightforward and not requiring a presentation? Okay, we'll invite Scott Pomeroy, the agent.
Good morning, committee.
Good morning.
Name.
Hoping that you have heard our little discussion a moment ago. We do not require a presentation. You're entitled to speak to us if you wish, but as an option, I would put to you that we set aside a presentation and just move into asking any questions if we have any.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
You're okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, if there's any need for discussion or questions, now's the time. Otherwise, let's go into committee and make a decision.
If there are no questions, Mr. Chair, I will bring that motion for approval of the 2 minor variances, noting that, as you've indicated, there are no city comments and no interested parties to speak.
Thank you, Ms. Popovic. Is there a seconder for Ms. Popovic's motion?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. All in favor? Thank you. Item 2 has been approved unanimously.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
Moving on to item 3. 3 Nordale Crescent. Purpose of this application is to construct a new dwelling with an attached garage. There are 5 variances. The only condition we have on file is from Urban Forestry. Their conditions 1 and 2 with respect to a city-owned tree and a privately owned tree. We do have a presentation. However, we have all had a chance to look at that. Panel, are we okay to treat this one as straightforward? Okay, agreed, thank you. Ida Evangelista, Ms. Evangelista.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, we got your presentation yesterday, but we've just concluded that we don't really need you to present it to us. If you're okay with that, we could just move on to questions if we have any, and then we'll go into committee and make a decision.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I am okay with that. We worked with planning and we modified the application, and all departments are on board with it, and I'm open for any questions you may have.
Okay. And if we move to refuse, I'll allow you to make a presentation.
Okay, let's hope that's not the case.
We'll know in 30 seconds. Could we have a motion on item 3?
I'll move to accept this application. I find it to be minor in nature and consistent with the 4 tests.
Thank you, Ms. Ruddick. Is there a seconder for Ms. Ruddick's
I'll
motion?
second that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Alderson. All in favor? It's approved unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Evangelista.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Moving on to item 4, 6931 Steeles Avenue West. Just do a quick summary here. Purpose is to construct a rear 1-story addition. There's 1 variance. There are no comments, conditions, or public interest expressed on this one. Again, panel, are we agreeable to treating this one as straightforward? Okay. The agent is Wes Serdica. Oh. Sir, are you agreeable to standing there to potentially answer any questions and not make a presentation?
I am.
Very straightforward. Okay, thank you. So, panel, any questions, comments? Oh, yeah, sorry, for the record, could you just identify yourself and give us your address?
My name is Wes Surdeka. I'm the architect, and I represent my client for that application. 6939 31 Steeles Avenue. And I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Terrific. Okay, I don't believe anybody jumped on the opportunity for questions, so let's have a motion.
Mr. Chair, I will bring that motion. I move to approve the single minor variance consistent with the 4 tests and noting no conditions applicable.
Thank you, Ms. Popovic. Is there a seconder for Ms. Popovic's
Can
motion?
second that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Alderson. All in favor? That's approved unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Siddiqa.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Pardon me. Moving on to item 5. Eight Sunnydale Avenue West. Purpose of the application is to construct a 2-story rear addition. There's one variance. We have TRCA is okay. They note that a permit is required. We have 2 letters of support, 1 letter of opposition, and community planning recommending either refusal of variance 5. There aren't 5 variances. Did I make a mistake there?
You're on number 5, 8 Sunnyleia.
Are you on 5?
Oh, I know what I did. I'm sorry. There's absolutely nothing on file on this one. Yeah,
It's a very straightforward application.
I put the comments for number 6 under number 5. Just to explain. So, Pan, are we okay to treat this one as straightforward?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So let's call on Pavlo Turco.
Present. Pablo Turco, agent for the applicant, 1985 Bow Beaches Boulevard, Mississauga.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Turco. So we've just decided we don't really need a presentation on your application. It's very straightforward. Are you okay to proceed on the basis of us asking questions?
Except for having a minor heart attack after your comment initially. I'm okay.
No need for that.
I'm good. I'm okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, any questions of Mr. Turco before we call on a motion? Good. Okay, so let's have a motion.
I can move to approve this application. I believe it meets the 4 tests under the Planning Act, and it's certainly desirable. I'm happy to see that the facade is going to be largely maintained, so move for approval with, I think it's urban forestry condition 1.
No, there are no conditions.
There are no conditions, sorry. I
No
didn't mean to
problem.
give you another heart attack.
Yeah, we must avoid heart attacks.
No conditions.
So, thank you, Ms. Alderson. Is there a seconder for Ms. Alderson's motion? Thank you, Ms. Ruddock. All in favor? Item 5 has been approved unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Turco.
Thank you so much.
Moving on to item 6, 76 Old Mill Road. Purpose is to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage and a pool in the front yard. There are 8 variances. We have 2 support letters, 1 opposition letter. TRCA is okay, and they note that a permit from them is required. And community planning has recommended either refusal of variance 5, which is an ancillary building or structure may not be located in a front yard, and the proposed pool will be located in the front yard. So they recommend that that variance be stricken, or their condition 2. which owner shall provide a landscape plan, identify and construct bird-friendly treatments, identify and construct exterior light features in the rear of the building as dark sky compliance. So that's about it for the summary. And we have the agent is Jim Pfeffer.
Good morning, I'm Jim Pfeffer from 95 St. Clair Avenue West.
Yes, Mr. Pfeffer. I think in light of community planning's comments and the fact that there's an opposition letter on this file, we need a presentation from you.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you could pull up my presentation, I'd appreciate it. So as you do know, we actually have 3 letters of support from the neighbors immediately across the street, as well as one of the immediately adjacent neighbors. And the owners have talked to the other adjacent neighbors who is not objecting to this proposal. And we have support of community planning for all of the variances except for this famous variance number 5. So I'm going to run briefly through the other variances, looking at the front elevation here. One thing you'll notice is that you cannot see that pool that's in the front yard, and I'll go into that a little bit more deeply. We're asking for a height variance. That height is really at the center of this hip roof. It has no shadowing or sky view impact. It just contributes to the style of the house. On the next page, we're asking for 2 side yard setback variances at the back. In a lot of this width, the required side yard becomes 7.5 meters beyond 17 meters in length. So we have a terrace that is right at the ground level. It's 2 meters from the property line. That has no impact. It requires that side yard variance. We have 8 square feet of a single-story breakfast room, 7 meters from the side property line. It still needs a variance. We're increasing the side yard setback on both sides. We need a driveway width variance. That's for that hammerhead. The driveway we've kept very narrow in the existing location to preserve the trees. We need a hammerhead to enter the road safely. That hammerhead, because of its width, is also considered a parking space, but that's there for safe egress from the lot in a car. And we've got a coverage variance, which is only required because the lot area is reduced by the top of bank. It's in keeping with other variances in the neighborhood. So the existing house is that blue line, and it's built right at the edge of a very precipitous drop-off. We're moving this house to be in line, front and back, with the houses on either side. And city planning has asked us to naturalize the area at the back of the lot. And because of that steep slope at the back, and because we're naturalizing the back of the lot, there's no room to put a pool, which is an appropriate amenity for a house of this kind, in the back. So we're putting it in the front. You can see it there, and it's not going to be visible at all. Going on to the next page, you'll see in a very similar Etobicoke neighborhood, 2 pools on Edenbridge in the front yard. Front photographs there, they're not obtrusive at all. On the right-hand side, the Committee of Adjustment actually tied us to a plan, the tennis court in the front lot, in a similar ravine situation. On the next page, approaching this lot from the east and from the west, you just can't see this front yard at all, and there's a straight-on view. On the next page, you'll see an internal view of the area where we're going to be putting this pool. And you know, we've got this very generous front yard setback, and you can see just how very well that front yard is screened. And again, neighbors across the street and either side not objecting. On the next page, more photos of this lot and a rendering from the street of what we're doing. And what we're doing is removing the cast iron fence that's in the boulevard, so actually increasing the openness of the view into this yard, but adding a layer of all-season screening in terms of beech or cedar trees, so increasing the depth of the view of that landscaping. That pool, absolutely invisible from all sides, and we've prepared a plan, which if the committee wants to, on the next page, you can tie us to, just showing how low these elements are, the screening we're providing, you know, showing how absolutely appropriate that this is going to be. There's one tree in the pool deck which is going to be removed, and that is a tree which is in decline. You can see that on page 16 later, but next page, you can see the axonometric of what we're proposing. And on the next page, you can see that the prevalent front yard treatment in this area is to have a huge circular driveway with a ton of hardscape, and very often cars parked in the front yard 24/7. So what we're proposing, though it's different, isn't out of keeping with the type of front yard treatment, I think, that you'd find in this neighborhood. Finally, urban forestry does have a condition. There's actually you can see the height that's being, extra. But on page 16, you can see that one.
You've run out of time, Mr. Pfeffer. Can you wrap up quickly?
Yeah, page 16 on the right-hand side, you can see the one tree that's going to be removed for the sake of this pool. There's room to plant trees in lieu. Urban forestry can always deny us a permit. They've asked a condition, which we're happy to accept for applying for a permit for these trees. That tree on the right, in decline, there's rot in the trunk. And that's the tree we're removing for the sake of the pool. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Panel, any questions or comments for Mr. Pfeffer?
Just a comment that I think this design has a great deal of sensitivity with respect to the frontage as well as the entire lot, so I'm pretty happy with the design overall.
Anyone else? Anything to say? Okay, then I guess so we can, well, I had a question. I just have to remember what it was. Was there ever any, you maybe have said this and I missed it, but you can tell me again. Was there ever any thought to putting the pool in the backyard? No?
We did explore that. As I said, there's a very steep drop off in the back. We discussed this both with the TRCA and the geotechnical engineer. And the TRCA planner actually told me that he thought it very unlikely that a pool would be permitted there. If you wanted to take a look at the site plan, you can see the existing, you can see that on, say, page 2 of our presentation. You can see the existing house footprint as that sort of blue line. And we're moving the house away from the slope, and it's going to be in line with the houses on either side. But planning has asked us to naturalize the area close to the slope at the back. So that's going to be actually an improvement to the ravine. And then what the planner at the TRCA said to me is, we've got that existing house footprint that's in blue. You think, oh, you could put a house within that blue, a pool within that blue footprint, but you can't really, because the house at that point doesn't really have a basement because of the slope of the lot. It's basically a walkout. So a pool would require excavation. There's all that loading. It would undermine the stability of the slope. And you can see just how far back the house is from its neighbors. Now we've moved it, as the bylaw intends, in line, front and back, with the houses on either side. And that pool, you just could not put a pool in the backyard. It wouldn't be a reasonable thing to do. So we definitely explored that.
Okay. Another question, would you be agreeable to urban forestry conditions 1 and 2 and ravine and natural features protection condition 1?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, well, I guess if there are no more questions or comments, we can consider a motion.
I'm happy to make that motion. And you're okay with community planning's 3 conditions, is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so with that being said, I move for approval. I do believe that the design is very sensitive to the lot. Move for approval with community planning's conditions, urban forestry conditions 1 and 2, and also the TRCA requires additional information for them to proceed with a permit. So I'm assuming you're going to continue to work with them.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Alderson. Is there a seconder for Ms. Alderson's motion?
I'll second that
Ms.
motion.
Popovic, thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, the motion to approve carries by a 4-to-1 vote.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to item 7, 34 Truman Avenue, to construct a second-story addition above the existing dwelling, a new covered front porch, and a new deck in the rear yard. There are 3 variances, and we have urban forestry condition 2. Panel, are we content to treat this as straightforward, not requiring a presentation? Thank you. The agent is Enzo Lochisano.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, committee members. My name is Enzo Locasano. I'm from RHDWG in Toronto.
Sorry, I spent 15 minutes trying to figure out how to pronounce your name.
Lochisano is correct.
Thank you.
You did very well.
That's great. Now I know why I majored in languages in university. Okay, and your address, please?
It's 1245 Caledonia Road in Toronto.
Okay. So, yes, we don't need a presentation. So, panel, are there any questions or comments for Mr. Lochisano? We're good? Okay, then let's hear a motion.
So with that, I believe this application is very minor. It meets the 4 tests. There are no conditions, and move a motion for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Ms. Reddick for seconding. Thank you. All in favor? Item 7 is approved unanimously. Thank you, Mr.
Oh,
Lochisano.
excuse me,
Whoop.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry. Is there a condition from Urban?
Oh, yes. Urban forestry
Oh,
too.
no, sorry, yeah. The January 22nd, 2026 Environment, Climate, Forestry Condition Number 2. Apologies.
Still seconded by, all in favor? Still approved unanimously with urban forestry condition 2.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too, sir. Moving on to item 894 Bexley Crescent. Purpose is to construct a new driveway and convert the garage into a cold cellar. There are 3 variances. We have ravine and natural features protection is okay, TRC is okay. There is a planning condition that the proposed development shall be constructed as illustrated in drawing A0.2, front yard landscaping diagram, as it relates to the front yard soft landscaping area. We have 1 letter of opposition, and it appears that they are registered to speak to us. The agent is John Loureiro. Mr. Loureiro?
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, I
Good
think
morning.
yeah, if you could just repeat your name and give us your address, please.
Yes, this is John Loureiro. My address is 25 Wingold Avenue, 2nd floor, Toronto, Ontario.
Okay, this is a pretty straightforward application. However, we do have speakers, so I think maybe a brief presentation might be useful and helpful to them and us. So if you could just tell us a little bit about your application.
Yes, indeed. So currently it's like an inverted driveway that's there. And my clients are kind of elderly folks, and they've had issues with ice, and even though they put salt sometimes in the winter, they've fallen. So they've asked me if they were able to make this driveway flush with the I guess the existing driveways in the area there. Actually on this street, Bexley, on the side that they are on, they're the only last, I believe, inverted driveway, like into their garage inverted. So they just want to make the driveway flush. So all of the work is within the property. I understand the opposition is speaking about prior work done and not removing the curb. But as you can see in the A0.2 drawing, that the curb that they are kind of speaking about in their opposing letter is being maintained as hard landscaping. So there's no real issue there in terms of speaking of the variances for this committee meeting. It's pretty straightforward, just making the driveway flush and just for safety reasons, and pretty much it. Yeah, okay, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Panel, any questions or comments? Okay, let's invite the speakers, Gino Santasuoso and Francesca Gravina.
So we
I
have,
guess it's Gravina Francesca.
yeah, so we have Francesca on. I will just unmute her now. Francesca? Hello, Francesca, can you hear us?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Could you,
Can-
you can decide how you want to share the 5 minutes, but we only allow one speaker. But you can,
you're
you
able
can, you
to
can,
hear
you
us
can
though,
both
right?
speak, but split, if you can agree on splitting your time, or if one of you wants to speak.
Sure.
Sure thing. So this is Gino Santoswell. So I'll speak first here. We're just to be clear, we're not
Can you
opposed
state
to
your
the
address,
construction
please?
work.
What's your address, please?
92 Bexley Crescent.
Okay. Is there anything you can do with the volume at your end?
Yeah, Gina, go in there.
Okay. All right, bear with me 1 second. All right.
I don't know if you can hear us now. Better?
That's a bit better. Yep.
Okay, perfect. So just to restate, we are not opposed to the construction work and the remodeling and of the front driveway. Our concern is the 6x6
And the side of the house.
curb that we have alongside our driveway and their property, that it is to remain untouched, for one. And alongside the house, they had removed the interlocking, which was alongside our concrete pad, which is now crumbling because there's no support anymore. So that's our main concern, is that our property doesn't get touched. Because of the fragility of the concrete there on the edge, we don't want any of the equipment or any of their supplies on our side to further damage what's already been done.
Is that it?
That was it. Yes.
Okay. I noticed that the way you.
Yes. Correct.
Sorry. Are you finished?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I noticed that the very end of your memo, you say you respectfully request this letter and the attached documentation be placed on the official record as part of the application file for this matter. Are you satisfied with that, or do you wish to negotiate an agreement with the applicant to enshrine some of your requests or all of your requests?
I think we'd like to negotiate with the applicant.
Okay, that's what I suspected. So we'll discuss that with the applicant momentarily. Panel, any other questions or comments?
I actually do. So you're at number 92, Bexley.
Yes.
Did you have to come before committee to get a variance on the soft landscaping in your front yard? Because it looks like you have space, it basically looks like your entire front yard is paved over, and yeah, so.
It's not paved over. We've got a section where there's a city tree and grass there in our front yard on the other side, on the right-hand side.
But you have space for 3 cars on your front yard.
We do, and we also pay for front yard parking for our vehicles.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, Mr. Loureiro.
Sorry, Chair, we do have an extra participant that's not on your list, Daniela. I just sent her the link, so hopefully she joins. Let me just double check if she's on here. One sec, I'm just gonna refresh my page here. Yeah, she's not currently on, but I'll let you know if she pops on. But
Yeah, we definitely need to speak with them.
There must be a soft landscaping variance required for 92.
Is the agent back?
Yeah, the agent's back.
He's back?
Yeah.
Mr. Lorero?
Hello.
Yes, hello. So you've heard from your neighbors. You have 5 minutes to speak to their concerns. And I think you hopefully heard me ask them, and they agreed. They would like to sit down with you and negotiate an agreement with respect to encroaching on their property during construction.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. Sorry for interrupting. Daniela just joined. Would you like to hear her before he has the rebuttal? Because she just joined right now. Yeah, I would say just to listen to Daniela first before the agent speaks. I can connect Daniela right now. Is that okay?
You're okay, sir? Mr. Lorero?
So let me just confirm it with John. Yeah. So John, we're just going to connect Daniela right now, and then you'll have your 5 minutes rebuttal.
That's fine. I wasn't sure if she's opposition or supporting. I'm not sure, but yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Daniela?
Hello?
Hi, yips.
Hi.
Who am I speaking to?
Hi, my name is Daniela Barbosa. I live at 47 Pendine Avenue.
Well,
So-
I'm sorry. I'm looking for Mr. John Lorero to rebut the neighbor's.
Yeah, this is just the neighbor that wasn't on your list. It's
another. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm
think I
sorry,
wrote it
Ms.
down.
Barbosa. Yes, go ahead, please. Tell us your name and address.
My name is Daniela Barbosa, and my address is 47 Pendine Avenue, which is Pendeen Avenue in York.
Okay, go ahead.
My side yard and driveway face 92 Bexley, so I'm like the neighbor across the street. And I had more question than anything else in terms of timeline in which this will all take, just because now we're also getting the speed humps along the same path, and I'm just concerned about access, also because of the school around the corner, because all of Bexley Crescent is going to be getting those speed humps. So just two things occupying the same space at the same time. Just wondering the timeline of this project.
Okay. Well, we'll be inviting the agent to speak, and he can answer that question.
All right, that's it.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Lorero.
Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, you've just
So
heard
first, okay. I will address Daniela first. The clients are anxious to get this thing completed. They were stopped, so they're super anxious. When the weather is right, they can get this thing completed. The timeline shouldn't be more than a few months, I think, to do something along this line of work. So shouldn't take too long. That's why we're here, trying to get this approved so that we can move forward with construction and completing this project. As opposed to, and then we can also speak more to that when permitting is issued, because that's another threshold that we need to pass. After this is approved or not approved, there's tons of timeline that is kind of unknown. But yes, absolutely, we want to get this done as soon as possible. And then the actual adjacent neighbor, I would like to address, I guess, the negotiating factor there. We are definitely open to discuss that during permit. A lot of these items, it seems like, that are coming up are more towards the actual construction and the permitting. I think we should focus on the zoning right now. But definitely we are open to keeping construction on our property and not damaging any of the neighbor's property. Anything that happened prior to this in these photos, I'm not aware of. We don't have any control. We don't know really much, but focusing on the front yard and any future work that has to do with the soft landscaping and the hard landscaping will definitely be contained within our property, and definitely make sure that we don't encroach with any of our landscaping onto the neighbor's property. So yeah.
Would you be prepared to sit down and work up an actual written agreement with your neighbor to that effect?
Yes, 100%, yes.
Okay, we wouldn't assign this as a condition of approval, but just as a way to facilitate your desires and your neighbor's concern. I think that would be a good idea.
Yes, that's a good idea, absolutely.
And are you aware of and okay with the community planning condition?
Yes, I am aware and I'm okay with that. I understand the matter of more green spaces, ideals for sure. So.
Okay, panel, any other comments or questions? So let's go into committee for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion, noting the undertaking on the record by the applicant's agent to enter into negotiations, and encouraging negotiation between neighbors is always important. I'd like to move to approve this application. As I believe it's consistent with the four tests, I highlight the negotiation aspect, and there is one condition from community planning that well, I'll leave it to the details, but it references the drawing of November 27, 2025.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Popovic. Is there a seconder for Ms. Popovic's motion?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. All in favor? The application is approved unanimously. Thank you, neighbors, and Mr. Lorero.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. So moving on to item 9, 18 Edgehill Road. The purpose is to construct an accessory structure, a cabana, and a shed in the rear yard. There's one variance. We have no agency comments or conditions. We have a support letter that we received from a neighbor yesterday. Panel, do we need a presentation, or are we okay to treat this as straightforward? Okay, so you must be David Holt.
That's me from 18H.
Okay, so we don't need a presentation. You're entitled to speak to us if you wish, but otherwise we'll just proceed with questions if we have any.
Please.
Are there any questions?
I have a question. So is the cabana for a pool that is already there, or?
Yeah. Yes, correct.
Okay. So then this is a very desirable addition then for you?
Correct, it is.
Right. So I'm prepared, if no one else has any questions, I'm prepared to make a motion. I believe this application meets the 4 tests under the Planning Act, and move for approval with no conditions.
Thank you, Ms. Alderson.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. All in favor? Approved unanimously?
Thank you, committee.
Thank you. Moving on to item 10, 16 Dornoch Drive. We have a revised application. Purpose is to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage. There are 6 variances. We have urban forestry conditions 2 and 3. And we have 2 opposition letters. The agent is Tony Tersigny.
Morning.
Mr. Tersigny?
Hello? Hi, can you hear me?
Tony, your mic's very low. I was wondering if you can like put the volume a little bit higher, or just put the mic closer to your face.
Try. Is that a little bit better? No.
It's still a little bit low on our end.
Does that work better? Hello?
It's a little better.
A little better?
I'll just say like speak a little bit louder, and then it should be fine.
Okay.
Well,
Sorry, I'm
that's
not sure
better.
what's wrong. Okay, good.
Okay,
Owen.
so your name and address for the record, please?
Tony Tersini, and address is 67 Marbella Road, Vaughan.
Okay. And we have four registered speakers, but we'll have to sort of sort out between David and Jane Phillips Long on which one of them wants to speak, unless they want to share the 5 minutes. But in light of the people that want to speak, and apparently they're all here in person, a presentation would be helpful. Could you tell us about your application?
So we're looking to construct a two-story dwelling. It's in keeping with the floor planning requirements. The variances are very minor in the sense that we're only 0.01 over in terms of coverage. We're fine with height. One of the variances is the stair on the outside, the width of it. The length is 0.87 meters longer than according to planning or zoning. But overall, I think the concern is the shadows that the building will be creating on the residences on the right side, because they are backing onto the house. We tried to keep the house as far away to the property line with 1.55 meters, and it tapers off to 4 meters, and then it gets even larger after that. The deck was reduced quite substantially. And if the deck is a concern, we can reduce it even more. But overall, I believe the house is in keeping with the neighborhood and with typical construction that is occurring in today's format and designs. I'm not sure what other concerns there could be for this type of house. It's a standard two-story house that you would see in any neighborhood. It's not taller than any other houses, and I'm not sure what else could be the issue. I have done some solar studies, and unfortunately, I didn't realize there was opposition on the right side until yesterday late. But I can assure you, the shadows will be very minimal to none from April to August in the rear yards of the neighbors. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the presentation.
Okay, thank you. Panel, any questions or comments for Mr. Tersigny? Nothing? Okay, let's invite our speakers up to the podium then. First up, we have David Long and Jane Phillips Long, the immediate neighbors to the north.
Good day, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is David Long, and my wife and I have lived at 18 Dornoch for 34 years.
So you're the immediate neighbor to the north?
Correct. It is a corner lot, so our only private outdoor space is in between the houses. And we're not here as casual observers. We're a foundational part of this community. We are formally objecting to these variances. While we respect the right to develop, this proposal relies on a series of variances that do not exceed the rules. They disregard the protections that ensure light, privacy, and safety for the long-standing residents. It's an overscale design that prioritizes interior square footage and profit at the direct expense of our property rights. First, let's talk about the side yard setbacks. The zoning bylaws are not built on arbitrary numbers. They exist for fire safety, air circulation, and property maintenance. By requesting these variances, the developer is effectively encroaching on our open space to accommodate a building that is simply too large for the lot. It creates a crowded, claustrophobic environment. After 3 decades of enjoying a balanced streetscape and personal space, we are now facing a design that pushes against our property line, diminishing the utility and the value of the land we've maintained since 1992. Second is the issue of massing and the resulting wall effect. The proposed height and bulk combined with the proximity create a severe privacy overlook. New windows and elevated sections will look directly down into our private living spaces and backyard that we have enjoyed in private for 34 years. Furthermore, this excessive height will strip our home of solar access. This is not a major inconvenience. It's a permanent loss of natural light. And essentially, you're being asked to approve a wall that will cast a shadow over our quality of life for the next 30 years. There's other hidden risk as well. Our hedge. I have maintained the hedge on the north side of our property, of their property. It's between our properties for decades. It's our primary privacy screen. While larger trees are addressed, the hedge is not protected in the current tree protection plan, and it sits directly in the path of construction. It must be protected. Private and publicly owned trees. Also, it was not mentioned as a variance, but I'm strongly opposed to the removal or injury of all trees, particularly the Norway maple located in the front yard. That's perfectly healthy. Water management. This is a safety issue. For 34 years, we have watched over the water flow between our houses during spring melts and downpours in the summer. And we've suffered basement flooding because of this. The property at 16 Dornoch has raised grading, and this new proposal offers 0 water management initiatives. If it's built without a drainage solution, you aren't just approving a house, you're approving a flood risk for my home as well as other surrounding properties. And in closing, a variance is only minor if it does not cause undue impact. These variances are anything but minor. They're a significant overreach. They set a damaging precedent that zoning bylaws are mere suggestions. We're asking the committee to uphold the protections that we have relied on for the 34 years and deny all requested variances. Let the applicant come back with a design that respects the scale of the street and the rights of the neighbors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I presume from what you said, you have difficulties with each and every one of the 6 variances?
That's correct.
Could you just, not that our consideration is limited to what I'm going to ask you, but I'd just like to know, which of the 6 do you find the most egregious, and why?
There's 2 major ones. One is the wall that is going to just basically block our sunlight, the view of the sky. And the windows that are in it will be a privacy issue. There's also a deck at the back that I don't know if it's would be an issue. Also the fact that the house has been, the foundation has been moved to about 4 feet from our property line. I have a hedge there. And hedges don't necessarily agree with property lines. They overreach it. The hedge is entirely, it's planted entirely on my property. But of course, there's some width to it. And with the house being 4 feet away from the property line, there would be difficulty passing through. When they dig the foundation.
Speak into the microphone.
Sorry?
You're just getting really far.
Oh, with the foundation being dug out, it's going to affect the root system of this hedge. It's quite a tall hedge, and it would have a very extensive root system. So I would assume that it's going to be affected negatively.
Okay, but you do recognize that this project is zoning compliant with respect to side yards? 1.2 meters is 4 feet.
Okay.
That's what the zoning bylaw allows?
Of course. I'm just looking at common sense. That's what I'm proposing.
Okay.
The house doesn't have to be that big. It's such a big house. If it were a bit narrower, it would be better from a hedge point of view. But the big wall is, yeah, he can do it. He's allowed to do that, but should he do that? I don't think so, in my opinion.
Okay, I think it's just important for you to realize that there's no coverage variance requested here. The overall footprint of the house is zoning compliant, and the floor space index is what, less than 11 meters squared larger than the bylaw allows. Anyway, are there any other questions or comments?
Yeah, because I'm looking at this fantastic hedge, and how tall is it? It looks to be about almost 2 stories tall.
I've grown it that high for privacy reasons.
Right.
At the present moment, I cannot see the peak of the bungalow at 16 Dornoch.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
With this wall going up, it's going to tower over it.
Right.
I don't think I can grow the hedge any higher.
So the second floor windows would still overlook your backyard.
Yeah, and we've got a brick wall there, which is, I mean, it's been a private space, and
but you still have the greenery in front of it to block that facade.
Not above it though.
If it survives the building.
If it survives,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
Which would be a concern.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
No more questions or comments? Okay, so let's invite Roma Sanderson. Says here Roma is present.
So I don't think they're yes, so she registered. Is Roma here? Anyone? No. She is, let me check online. Nope, so she's not online as well.
She's online?
She's not.
She's not
So
on.
we can just go to Brian Pennington.
Good morning,
Morning.
Mr. Chair, committee. My name is Brian Pennington. I live at 185 Princess Margaret Boulevard. I did submit some materials last week, and if you are able to pull those up, I think I can jump right to 2 visuals that will help me launch into sort of my objections. I am here, my wife and I submitted objections to all 6 variances. We do have some that are more, we believe are more egregious than others. So if you look at the photo there, and then on the next page there is a graphic of, so you can see the highlighted lot lines. That's my property. And we are directly facing southwards to the 16 Dornoch yard. So if you go back to the photo, please. That I took last week while I was still able to walk through the snow before the big snowstorm. And I walked to my kitchen window and took that photo facing south. So you can see the bungalow that exists there now and the open yard. Now the new house as constructed, especially if the deck is added to the second floor, will essentially overtake my backyard completely. if you go back to the photo. So take that bungalow, picture that more than twice as high, and extend it back almost 23 feet with the deck, because the deck is a permanent structure, it becomes part of the house. You basically wipe out the sunlight, well, a good chunk of the sunlight, but more importantly, the privacy. So that deck and the side window in the bedroom will be looking straight into our kitchen window, my daughter's bedroom window, and our backyard. So in terms of enjoyment of our property, there's no way you can say that's a minor issue. Now, I'm in real estate. I'm a real estate broker by trade. I know that development happens. It's good for neighborhoods. I get that. We knew this day was coming, that that house would eventually be sold and a property would be built there. Well, we can't object to that, and that's okay. But the overreach is unnecessary. It's unnecessary. You can build a 3,928 square foot house on that property without any variances, okay? That would by a long shot be the biggest house on the street. So when you talk about conformity to the street, because I heard the applicant say, well, our plan is in keeping with development in the neighborhood. No, it's not. I can't think of any other house in the neighborhood that has a 200 square foot second floor deck off the back. I'm just not aware of it. I've been selling real estate in that neighborhood for 18 years. There are some other big homes that probably had variances. I know one on Martin Grove. I know one down on Glen Agar. They didn't have 6 surrounding properties that would all be affected. So can I stop their development? Of course not. But to allow this extra length, the extra depth, the height is only slight and the floor index is only slight. But to add insult to injury, they've relocated the footprint another 3 or 4 feet towards our property line, which affects both my neighbor who just spoke and us as well. So it literally obliterates our backyard from a usage point of view. So I just can't understand why that would be approved when they're already allowed to build such a substantial property as it is. That's essentially our position.
Well, of course, as you know, that's why we're here.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. But just maybe for everybody else, you know, our purpose is notwithstanding what could be built on this property without variances.
Yeah.
People have an opportunity and a right to ask for a bit more. That's what
I understand, and people often do, and variances are granted. Our position is these are not minor. The applicant said they're minor because the floor index goes up slightly. True. But the length and depth and setbacks would be incongruous with, you can't see from that photo, the row of houses to the south. We always look for, I think you're the experts, you look for conformity, you look for contiguity with the neighbors, and this won't be. It will completely overtake all of the surrounding neighbors. It will encroach onto that, as Dave said, the airspace and viewing space of every neighbor. I'm not sure why some of the other neighbors didn't come. Maybe they're intimidated by the process. I don't know. I know they object to it, but they're not here today. So I'm kind of speaking for myself, of course, first and foremost, but also for the surrounding houses.
Sir, is there a second platform size that you would be satisfied? Anything beyond the 4 meters squared as required by the bylaw?
Probably not. And the reason is because it becomes a permanent structure that is elevated. It's not just, a lot of people have decks, fences maybe that, you know, vary a little bit. But a second floor deck, I can't think of one. I literally can't. There are balconies.
They do exist, but
in this immediate area, and a balcony off a primary bedroom, that's pretty common. But what's wrong with 4 square meters? That's sizable for somebody to have a table and chairs and sit out there and have a coffee. But a 200 square foot deck, what's that for? What's that for? That's for. Yeah.
Panel, any other questions or
Just
comments?
so you're not happy even with the reduction that they've made? So
What
they
is the
were
current?
at 27.33 square meters. Now they're down to 15 square meters.
Still substantial. That's still well over 200. That's over 100. That's 150 square feet.
Which is a lot.
Is it? Okay. I was doing the math quickly in my head. Yes.
A privacy screen wouldn't satisfy you?
A privacy screen would satisfy one concern, which is privacy, but visually would be
Yeah, I understand.
our whole yard. I mean, when we talk about these things, we're talking about two things: our enjoyment and use of the property, but also our resale will be severely affected. It doesn't seem fair to me that somebody new should come in with no reason other than just their own personal use, obliterate the values of the properties around them. It doesn't make sense to me. So those are the big concerns for me. The relocation of the footprint, I think they probably did that to get a two-car garage. I applaud that. Two-car garages are great. I think more people should have them. They're good for resale. They're good for the neighborhood. But they could have made their living room slightly narrower. They didn't have to move 3.5 feet towards our property.
They didn't have to, but they want to.
They want to.
We have to decide whether they can or not.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And I hope you consider our position.
Excellent presentation. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Pennington.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So are we going to abandon Roma Sanderson?
Yeah, she hasn't connected online and she's not in chamber, so.
Okay, then let's call on the agent, Tony Tersigni, who has a 5-minute opportunity to rebut what has been said by Mr. Long and Mr. Pennington.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, committee. So as a rebuttal with respect to what was brought up, there's only 2 windows that are going to be on that wall. The rest is still a solid masonry wall. The deck, the reason for the deck being so large was basically it was to be on top of the flat roof, which is there. I mean, we can make the deck smaller, which is not a problem. We made the depth about 5 feet, and it just happened to be pretty wide, which gives it the larger size. But if the deck is an issue, we'd be more than happy to reduce it even further. The deck was more so just to have an egress for the clients, and it was not to be for them to sit out there all through the summer. If you look at the site plan, and you look at the existing footprint of the existing house, you'll see that our house, this new house, is not much larger than what's already there. It just happens to be a 2-story new home. So, any 2-story house there would essentially cause the same issues that the neighbors are referring to today. So, yeah. So if you look at the dotted line is the existing. Ours is a little bit further back, but the side yard, we tried to keep it to 1.5 meters. We could have went to 1.2, but we went to 1.5. We kept the other side at 1.5, so it was sort of in keeping with the side yards. But at the back, it tapers and it gets larger, so you're actually getting farther away from the backyards as you go back further. Overall, the height, I tried to keep the height as to zoning constraints. So there was no variance for the height. The coverage is under, and the gross floor index just happened to be 0.01 over, which is just minimal as a variance. The other variance is the stairs in the front. We feel that they're inviting. having them wider, and they also are in scale with the proportion of the entrance. So that's a minor variance there. So really the only one that is in question is the length of the building, which is just 0.87 meters over. Unfortunate, it's unfortunate that the neighbors are looking at this house, but in reality, this could have been a two-story house from day one, and it would have the same problems. The hedge, we will definitely make sure there's no problems or no construction near the hedges. We can protect it without issue. That's not a problem. The front tree is going to be protected. The rear trees are going to be protected. So there's really no change to any trees. I understand the grading of this lot. We could put a retaining wall off to the side or something, but the drainage is there. It just happens that this site is a little bit higher than the neighboring site, but there is a drainage valley that does drain to Dornoch. So I'm not sure why there's an issue with water on the neighbors' basements. I think it's more to do with probably the sewer backups than the actual grading drainage from the surface. Yeah, other than the deck, I mean, I don't see an issue with this house. I mean, we can definitely make the deck smaller if required.
Okay, to what extent, sir, would you be prepared to reduce the size of the second floor balcony?
I would reduce it down to 4 square meters if that's necessary.
You'd reduce it to 4 square meters as set out in the bylaw.
Yeah.
So you'd be agreeable to eliminating variance 5?
I would, yes.
Okay, Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer, would the second floor balcony impact variances 1, 2, or 3? No. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Tersigny?
No, but like I said, this is basically a 2-story house that.
No questions from the members.
Sorry, yeah,
Just
we've
to
heard we've heard your remarks, I believe.
Okay.
I'm asking my panel colleagues if
Oh,
they have
sorry.
any questions for you.
Yeah. So just to reconfirm, you are now taking away variance number 5?
Yes, we will take it away if that
Okay.
appeases the committee, for sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Mr. Tersigny? Nothing? Okay, then let's consider a motion. And just to review, we have urban forestry conditions 2 and 3, and the applicant or agent is prepared to delete variance 5.
So with that, I'd like to move a motion and first just note thank you to the neighbors for their comments. But with that, I'm going to note that the variances that are being sought, the most contentious ones anyway for GFA, they're seeking 10.53 square meters, which is 113 square feet more than what's currently permitted. And in terms of height, they're just seeking 6-inch increase on the side main wall. And then in terms of depth, it's a 6% increase. And then based on the evidence we have before us, and they're now also taking away variance 5. So based on the variance, the application before us as amended and the evidence provided, I'd like to move a motion for approval, as I do believe the application meets the 4 tests subject to the environment, climate, and forestry conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Is there a seconder for Mr.
And the
Dalton?
removal of variance number 5. Okay, you said that. I'm happy to second that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Alderson. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, the motion to approve carries by a vote of 4 to 1. Does anybody wish to take a break, or should we take a short break? 15 minutes? 15. Yeah, let's break until 11:10.
We will resume shortly.
Okay, thank you, folks, for allowing us to take a bit of a break. We'll resume with the agenda now on item 11, 4 Bridgetown Drive. The purpose of this application is to construct a second-story addition above the existing dwelling. We have 2 variances. We have Urban Forestry has requested their condition number 2. We have no other agency comments. We have no other agency comments or conditions. We have no comments from neighbors expressed. We have the agent is Paul, is it Scarafale? And while we're waiting for Paul, panel, are we agreeable that this is straightforward, not requiring presentation? We're all good with that? Good, okay.
Scarafale?
Yes, Paul?
Yes.
Yeah, hi. You have a very straightforward application here. The panel doesn't require a presentation. We're wondering if you would be okay with just answering any questions if we have any.
Definitely.
Okay, good. Are there any questions? I didn't think so. Then let's consider a motion.
I'm prepared to make that motion. This is a very straightforward application and meets the 4 tests and certainly is desirable, and move for approval with no conditions.
Thank you. Oh, there's
Sorry, Urban Forestry. Number 2.
There you go.
And is there a seconder for Ms. Alderson's motion?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. All in favor? That's approved unanimously.
Thank you very
Paul.
much. Thank you.
Moving on to item number 12, 22 Queen Mary's Drive. We have Urban Forestry Condition 1, and Transportation Review has requested 3 conditions. I know there's been some back and forth between Transportation Review and the agent, so we'd like to hear the agent's perspective on where that sits. And the agent, without even looking, is standing in front of me, and his name is Dennis Benoit.
Correct.
Bingo.
Talk
to us.
I did send a letter to Transportation, but they did not reply. I did indicate that I was willing to narrow the driveway slightly if that met their needs, and I sort of...
If you could just, we did get that letter yesterday, but if you could just sort of walk us through that.
The Transportation was saying they didn't see any reason to have a driveway wider than 2.6 meters, which is just 8.5 feet. And I sent in, of the 23 driveways on the street, over half of them are substantially wider than the 2.6 meter. So I didn't feel ours was excessive.
And as you probably understand, if we were to impose their conditions,
Yeah,
it basically nullifies what you're asking for.
correct.
So they're not really conditions, it's a refusal recommendation.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to have a chance to converse with Luigi
Yeah.
in transportation, but he never replied to my phone call or email. So I never did have an opportunity to even speak to him. I did present another option. In his email, he has the driveway at 9 meters width, but as you can see on the site plan, it's really only 7 meters. It might be 9 meters where it flares, where it meets the road. And I said, I'm happy to just straighten that and stay at 7 meters or even reduce it to 6 if that satisfied them, but I didn't get any reply.
So, Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer, is a driveway width the width on the private property, or does it include the flare out at the street?
The variances are only related to what's on the subject lands.
So then, sir, am I right in assuming that we could alter variance 2? Oh, wait, what am I looking at here? I'm looking at number 11. Allow me to update my screen here. There's only the one variance. So could we reduce your variance so that the proposed driveway will have a width of 7 meters?
Yes, we could.
You'd be agreeable to that?
I would be agreeable to that, yes.
Okay, so panel, any other questions or comments? We're good?
Just a comment then, so if we do that, then what we will be doing is just then avoiding the development review comments, because they kill your application.
Well, we don't have to. Why don't you, I think we're ready for a motion. Why don't you, if you've got issues with reducing it, we don't have to.
Yeah, but if he's asked to reduce it, then you're making a decision on
Yes,
the
you know, 'cause
revised application.
if I make a motion, for example, to move and approve the application as revised to 7 meters, then the only condition that we can impose is the January 22nd Environment, Climate, and Forestry Division. And then we'll just ignore the development review comments. Accurate? Then I would move that motion.
I will second that motion, subject to the appropriate wording for the final outcome.
Okay, so we'll proceed on that basis then?
So the variance would be the proposed driveway will have a width of 7 meters.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Subject to the environment, climate,
Yep.
forestry. Yep.
Yep,
Only.
okay. So that's been made and seconded. All in favor? That's approved unanimously.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Now move to item 13, 38 Edgecroft Road. Purpose is to construct a new triplex dwelling and to permit a front yard parking pad. The existing detached garage in the rear will be maintained. There are 4 variances. We have urban forestry conditions 2 and 3, 5 letters of opposition, a support petition, and in our additional material received yesterday, we received an additional objection and also a withdrawal of another objection. So I guess we still net out at 5 letters of opposition. And we have a presentation from William S. Hudson.
That's me of Hudson Architecture. Good morning, Chair, Committee.
And your address, please?
At 530 Queen Street East, Toronto.
Okay, could you tell us what your client would like to do?
The proposal is to demolish an existing bungalow and construct a new 3-story triplex to allow 3 generations of a family to continue to live together. They live together in the bungalow right now, and they have since 2007. It's a grandmother, parents, and grown-up children. The proposition has provoked 3 variances, and I wonder if staff would mind pulling up the support package. Ah, great. The first one is the wall height, side wall height. It reads as a large variance. I agree. I think the actual eaves side wall height, if you look at page 5, would be great of the package. It shows that the intent is actually to have a sidewall height that's much lower around each of the front, rear, and side elevations. Because of the nature and the massing of the building, we didn't qualify to keep it at 6.03 meters. But that pink line on that drawing represents the bottom or the eaves trough, the eaves of that front mansard. And the rear has a similar mansard arrangement, and there's a double-hipped feature roof between those 2 mansards. It's a little bit confusing to read from the drawings, but it's a little bit higher at its peak. I think you can see it sneaking up beyond that front mansard. And that's the rear elevation. Again, the efforts were made to really try to keep this contextual, and that the 3rd floor is actually a roof-line 3rd floor. There's no basement. The reason for that is that there's a high water table on the street. With the view to aging in place, the parents who are going to live on the ground floor didn't want to have stairs down to a basement or a lower level. The second variance relates to the height of the entrance. This, at the front of the house, this is really a view to the building code that one, I hope, sincerely, might come later, which is that trying to avoid a kind of tangle of exiting at the rear of the building. So each of the units gets its own front door and is able to exit and enter their unit from there. And the rear balconies would constitute an additional egress for them, as well as some amenity space. Variance 3 is for the front yard parking pad. We included this just to allow for the movement and maneuvering of the vehicles that we would like to park on private property for the people living in the units, so that they're able to, it'll be nose to tail parking, but this provides a way that they can avoid each other if needs be in the morning or at the end of the night or end of the day, working day. Right-of-way management had no issue with it. And according to the staff review of the drawings, the front yard landscape is still maintained. And variance 4, the last one, is it's an existing condition. It's relative to the garage workshop that they have. We snuck as close to it as we dared while still maintaining a little bit of breathing room. And again, I think this is largely technical. I think, I think what I'd like to promote for you, the panel, is the variances that we don't have. We don't have side yard, front yard, rear. We don't have length, and we don't have height. The rear decks will have privacy screens, and I spoke to community planning, and they're on board. They're supportive. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hudson. Panel, questions, comments?
Just a comment. Thanks for all the comparables that you've submitted with the application. And I'm just curious, the multiplex on Royal York Road that you've used as a comparable, were you also the architect for that property?
I wasn't, no.
No, it's a very similar design, though.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nothing else? Okay, now we have a last-minute speaker that's indicated a desire to speak. Twisco Burkholz?
Yes, that's correct. So my name is Twisco Buchholz at 43 EDGECROFT Road. So, good morning, Chair and members of the committee. Thank you for the
Morning.
opportunity to present. So as I mentioned, my name is Tuske Buchholz. I've lived at 43 Edgecroft Road for the past 12 years, and I'm speaking today also on behalf of several residents who share the same deep concerns regarding the proposed development at 38 Edgecroft. So you'll find 4 more names attached in addition to mine to the opposition letter. So it's not 5, it's already at 8 oppositions. And so while we are not opposed to the development and renewal, we are opposed to design that is out of scale and inconsistent with our established neighborhood character and negatively impacting the streetscape. So if someone, okay, you're sharing it right now, so I'll share a few brief points there, being mindful of your time. Our first point, so it's on page 2, and it concerns application omissions. So the first concern is that the application appears incomplete. A review of the plan suggests 5 additional significant zoning amendments that were not identified in the zoning review. So these includes there's deficiencies in both front yard landscaping and soft landscaping, as well as substantial increases in lot coverages and floor space index, with these last 2 in particular being very significant. So because these were omitted, the true impact of the relief sought is understated, limiting your ability to fully assess the proposal against the 4 tests of the Planning Act. The second point I have is that I would hope to briefly go through the build form and character. And if you could please refer to pages 3 through 9 of the attachment. So those are mainly pictures, and I guess the rendering on page 7 is probably the most helpful. The tangible impact on our streetscape are significant. So if you look at the entrance, the zoning bylaw permits a pedestrian entrance height of 1.2 meters, but this design seeks 3.44. That's a 186% increase. That's 3 times what is in the bylaw. This creates a towering institutional scale facade that is completely foreign to the grade level human scale interface of our street, as seen on the neighboring on the pictures of the neighboring houses included in the application. I think what you're opening is the yeah, no, that's correct. So if you go to page 7 here, for example, so then looking at the height and massing, this applicant is requesting a main wall height of a couple of centimeters shy of 10 meters, where only 7.5 is permitted. That's a 33% increase and enables a 3-story building that is without any precedent on Edgecroft Road. So for context, our house is defined by bungalows and 2-story homes. As shown in our submission, this design does not respect and reinforce the existing physical character as required by official plan policy. Then the third and final point we would like to highlight to the committee is parking and safety. The intensity of use is reflected in the parking. While most neighbors accommodate 1 or 2 cars on a standard driveway, this proposal seeks relief to accommodate 5 on-site parking spaces plus the one in the garage. So if you can refer to the top of page 8, it illustrates the site plan with the anticipated excess cars. The site plan shows the front yard dominated by hardscape and parking paths rather than landscaping. This level of intensification increases safety risk for children and pedestrians by reducing sightlines and eroding the landscaped character that defines our neighborhood. So in summary, A, this application is not complete with absence of variations as noted in our point 1, and the variants requested are not minor technicality, they represent a fundamental alteration of our local context. The resulting form is more consistent with an arterial road than a stable low-rise residential street. So for example, the example of triplex or multiplex, those are much larger roads. They're not on our little neighborhood street. So we respectfully ask the committee to refuse the application in its current form. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for the neighbor? No? Okay, Mr. Hudson, you have 5 minutes if you need them.
Thank you. I appreciate the comments from the deputant. They're not new. I'll answer them in order. I'm not going to contest the zoning review that was done. I feel like that's just not the place of today or in general. In my opinion, they're correct. They were done by staff. We didn't change any drawings afterwards. So I'll let that one lie. Point two about the height, I saw that illustration actually, which compelled me to ask the surveyor, poor guy, yesterday to go and survey the heights of the adjacent neighbor, which he did. And what it actually shows that relative to 36, at our very peak, that tall interstitial roof will be 11.5 inches taller than they are at 36. At 40, we're 4'2" taller, and the illustration that was presented makes it look as if we're a complete story or more above the two neighbors, which is completely inaccurate. It's worth pointing out that 55 EDGECROFT is taller and got C of A approval at 9.98. 34 went to C of A, and we will be 6 inches taller than them. So it's a compelling, well-done rendering, wholly inaccurate in my opinion. Third is the parking. We've made best efforts to provide parking that isn't on the street for each of the people that will be living there. Not easy to do, so we've tried to make it's an act of commission to put parking or allow parking on the property rather than elsewhere on the street. Again, I think it's a challenge. I know it's a new building form for a district or a neighborhood that's really a single-family dwelling, but we made a kind of honest, sincere effort to integrate through massing and general size a triplex, which they're just different animals. They present themselves to the street differently, and their massing is often different just because we've got essentially three accommodations on one lot. And I think we're trying to promote the city's idea of gentle densification to neighborhoods.
Panel, any questions or comments for Mr. Hudson on his
I just
rebuttal?
want to confirm this. You were referring to 58 Edgecroft as an example of relative height.
55.
Oh, it's 55 Edgecroft?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at 58 and it actually looks pretty tall too.
Yeah, there's a lot of flat roofed houses on the street, but 55 went a while ago, weirdly.
Oh, sorry, it is 58.
Yeah.
Sorry, it is 55.
Yeah.
And you said it's taller or?
9.98. I mean, it's nominal, but it is taller.
It is taller.
Yeah. It's from 2016, their approval.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I had a question as well.
Yes.
Mr. Agent, can you confirm, I don't see a zoning waiver in the materials. Can you confirm that zoning did review?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would never do a zoning waiver, for the record. It's crazy.
Some people
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
I wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? If not, we can go into committee now and consider a motion.
So with that, I'd like to move a motion for approval. I do believe the application meets the 4 tests, subject to the January 22nd, 2026 Environment, Climate, and Forestry Conditions 2 and 3.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Is there a seconder for Mr. Dalton's motion?
There is a seconder. I will second that.
Thank you, Ms. Alderson. All in favor? Opposed? Approved unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Hudson. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 14. 64 Saybrook Avenue. Purpose of this application is to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage. There are 2 variances. We have urban forestry conditions 1 and 3. No other agency comments or conditions. No registered speakers from the neighborhood. Panel, are we okay to treat this as straightforward?
Yes.
Okay, then I would like to speak then to the agent, Antonella Wild. Ms.
Good morning,
Wild.
Mr. Chair. Good morning. I have no objection to not presenting.
Sorry, could you increase the volume on your device?
Oh, yes. I wanted to say I have no objection to not making a presentation if that makes the time.
Okay, you're just fading totally away.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe, listen, let me speak because I think it might have an impact on what you might want to say.
Sure.
We don't need a presentation unless you want to make one.
No, that's fine.
We're prepared to proceed on the basis of us asking you any questions if we have any. Are you okay with that approach?
Yes, that would be my pleasure, yes.
Okay, then let's do that then. So panel, any questions or comments on this one? Then let's go into committee and make a motion.
Go ahead. So with that, I'd like to move a motion for approval, as I believe the application meets the 4 tests and is very straightforward and subject to the January 22nd, 2026 Environment, Climate, and Forestry Conditions 1 and 3.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Is there a seconder for Mr. Dalton? Thank you, Ms. Ruddick. All in favor? That application is approved unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wild. Moving on to item 15, 31 NEILOR Crescent. To construct a one-story rear addition. There are 4 variances. We have urban forestry condition 2 and a planning recommendation that the application be refused. The agent is Anthony Gornick. Mr. Gornick?
Hi, Anthony Gornick here as agent for 31 NEILOR.
And sorry, did you give your address?
405 the Kingsway.
Okay, I think in light of the planning department recommendation, we need to hear a presentation from you.
Thank you. This application is related to a rear yard single-story addition for a modest outdoor 3-season room. The proposed design introduces a series of millwork columns with large openings to enhance the outdoor space. Related to that, we have 4 variances. The zoning bylaw permits a maximum floor space index of 0.45 and a maximum lot coverage of 33%. The proposal results in a floor space index of 0.61 and lot coverage of 39.2%. The proposed addition is designed with a series of millwork columns incorporating either retractable screens or glass panels. The portion noted as glazing or glass panels are contributing to the overall FSI calculations, as these areas are not considered open to outside and thus resulting in us falling below the 50% threshold for open exterior wall areas. Considering this, we view the proposed 3-season room as remaining significantly open in nature, and note that if the glazed portions were assessed as the same as the retractable screen panels, the FSI variance would not be required. The required minimum rear yard setback is 6.7 meters, where we propose a setback of 1.55 meters. This condition reflects the functional placement of the 3-season room at the rear of the existing home. For context, prior to 2016, the property included a rear yard sunroom addition located approximately 2.55 meters from the rear property line, which subsequently was removed by the current owners as a part of a building permit submission back in 2016. In this regard, the current proposal can reasonably be viewed as a partial reintroduction of the previous existing rear yard condition. Due to the open character of the proposed structure, the impacts on the adjacent property we view as minimal. The final minor variance in our submission is related to an allowable maximum building length of 17 meters, and we propose the building length to be 19 meters. This increase is directly attributed to the 3-season room and does not materially alter the overall scale or massing of the home as viewed from the street. particularly as the addition is confined to the rear yard and consistent with the property condition prior to the 2016 renovations. And that's our submission today.
Thank you. Mr. Gornick, do you have any data to address community planning's concern that there's nothing in the immediate or broader contexts similar to what you're proposing? Can you point to anything that maybe refutes that, or?
Well, we have a neighbor directly behind us that has like a covered area, like a metal structure, but I'm not sure they went and got a building permit or, sought variances for that. So the neighbor directly behind us does have something somewhat similar to the conditions we're proposing. And I believe a neighbor to the north sought variances for a sunroom in the rear of their property, but I'm not sure if it's consistent with our application here.
Okay, panel, any other questions or comments? None? Okay, then we can go into committee then and consider a motion. Oh, no, I did have one question, sorry. Mr. Gornick, I had a question on variance 3. It says the minimum required rear yard setback is 6.7 meters, and the altered dwelling will be located 1.55 from the rear lot line. Is that not in fact with respect to the side yard setback, or is it due to the unique situation of this property?
Well, it's actually a rear yard setback variance that we're seeking. So on the site plan, which would be our drawing number 01.1, it's clearly noted where the setback would be 1.55 as a proposed condition. Correct, right there. And that's
Okay.
the rear yard.
So that variance is accurate?
Yes, and that's just to that wooden pier.
Okay. So, okay, we'll go back into committee then.
So with that, in reviewing the information that we have been provided with this application, I'm tending to agree with the recommendations in the planning memo because we don't have any information to counter what planning is basing their objection to in terms of heights, massing, scale, density, and patterns of rear and side yard setback. So on that basis, I'm going to move a motion for refusal.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Is there a seconder for Ms. Ruddock? Okay, so we have a motion to refuse, seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, so the motion to refuse carries by a vote of 3-2. Moving on to item 16. 73 10th Street. Purpose is to construct a one-story rear addition and a new rear deck. There's one variance, no agency comments or conditions, and no letters in support or opposition from the neighborhood. So panel, may we treat this as straightforward, not requiring a presentation? The agent is Mark Lilly.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Could you just repeat your name and give us your address, please?
Yes, it's Mark Lilly, 322 Garden View Drive, Burlington.
Okay. And if you heard our conversation on the panel here, we don't require a presentation.
That's fine.
You can say anything you wish if you feel you need to, but as an option, would you be prepared to proceed with questions, if any, that we have?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, then let's do that. So panel, any questions or comments? Then may we have a motion?
I will make that motion, Mr. Chair, to approve the application. I do not see any conditions,
Nope.
and I believe it's consistent with the four tests.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Popovic and Ms. Alderson. All in favor? That's approved unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lilly.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 17, 39 Charleston Road. Purpose is to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage. There are 3 variances. We have urban forestry recommended refusal and then offered as an alternative in a memo dated January 9th. Their condition 1 with respect to a city-owned tree. We have 32 letters of opposition, and we have no other agency or department comments or conditions. Eddie Perez is our agent, and we have 3 registered speakers. So let's start by hearing from Mr. Perez.
Hello, good morning, Chairman and committee members. My name is Eddie Perez. I'm at 537 Rogers Road. We're the designers and agent for this project. After reading the letters from the neighbors, we've made the change to the side yard, which reflects on item number 2 on the agenda. And we went from 0.92 to 1.22 meters side yard and 2.4 combined. But that combined, if you put up the site plan, the combined is only in the garage area. In the actual overall of the house, we're very close to complying with the actual zoning. We have 3 meter combined. We're 3.07 meters combined. And that garage area is only a 1-story and it's flat on that side if you put up the elevations. We have no coverage. We have no height variance. So I feel what we're presenting before you today is very minor in nature. And as per the tree, I sent an email to forestry because I only got the letter last week, and we'll be working with them. The tree itself is pretty far from the front of the construction that we're doing. It's 12.8 meters away, which we can provide the actual protection needed. You might have to make the driveway a little narrower so it won't affect this tree. We don't intend to affect the tree whatsoever, but we will work diligently with forestry to get all this resolved. And that's what I have to say now, and I'll be happy to hear what you have to say and the neighbors as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. Panel, any questions or comments for Mr. Perez? Okay, then we'll start proceeding through our list of concerned neighbors. And before I invite David Clark to the podium, I understand he's in person. Mr. Clark? Yes. Yeah. Just before you speak, I'd just like to make a couple of comments. Number 1, not really to you, but to the 2 people that will be speaking after Mr. Clark. Please listen very carefully to what he says, and please try to avoid repeating what he said. You can agree with what he said and make that statement as simple as that, or add new information, of course, but we don't need to hear the same story more than once. The second thing I would like to say is, and again, I said it in my opening remarks, we are here to consider the 3 variances that are requested. So our consideration is going to be, do these 3 variances meet the 4 tests under the Planning Act? Anything else is really peripheral to our interest and our discernment. So with that, Mr. Clark, could you please repeat your name, give us your address, and then speak to us?
My name is David Clark. I live at 37 Charleston Road. I'm here today to advise the members of the Committee of Adjustment to refuse variance number 2 because it does not conform with the intent and purpose.
Sorry, sir, could you please lower the microphone a little? That's perfect.
Okay. The side yard setback is to be 20% of the lot frontage, which is 3.07 meters. On their plan, there is one part where the side yard setback is 1.22 meters and 1.8 meters, with an aggregate side yard setback of 3.02, leaving a deficit of 5 centimeters. The zoning examiner has given them this variance, which is a small amount or a minor variance. On the other part of their plan, They're requesting a side yard setback of 1.22 meters on both sides of the house for an aggregate side yard setback of 2.44 meters. This leaves a deficiency of 63 centimeters. This is 12 times larger than the deficiency of the other part that the zoning examiner accepted. This is too large a variance and does not leave sufficient space to build without encroachment on the adjacent property. Where does it say in the bylaws that I have to accommodate someone's construction project on my property? Nowhere. I am stating on record, I am not accepting encroachment on my property. My property is 2 centimeters less frontage than their lot, and I provided sufficient side yard setbacks that I did not encroach on the adjacent properties when I built my home. They're building a house too wide for the size of the lot. In the revised plan submitted by EKP Designs, they've moved the garage wall from 3 feet to 4 feet from the property line, but did not move the overhang back 1 foot. This will prevent them from using a scaffold without encroachment. Also, the foundation wall is still located 0.91 meters from the property line, which was their first application. This will allow them to build according to their original plan. The plans need to go back to the building department and zoning examiner for review. My side yard setback is backfill, disturbed soil that could cave into their excavation. With a reduced side yard setback, it increases the probability of a cave-in. I also have a gas line in my side yard setback. According to Enbridge Gas, where the gas line is marked, there is a 1 meter tolerance zone on both sides of the gas line. You cannot just start digging in the tolerance zone with backhoe. There's a procedure to be followed. This tolerance zone will extend, if not, to the property line. In addition, my sub pump discharges that side of the house, which could further destabilize the soil. Now you're probably wondering, if I have all these concerns about disturbed soil caving in and shoring, why did I not approach the owners about this? I talked to the owners back in June when they were in their preliminary stage of deciding what to build. What did they want to do? They want to build even closer to the disturbed soil, and as far as shoring is concerned, the response was, that's expensive. When you get a building permit, there are some other pages with it that a lot of people ignore. They're called the permit notes, which the permit holder is required to comply with, one of which is permit issuance does not authorize encroachments onto adjacent property. Also, permit issuance does not include the authority to enter adjacent property. And excavations that exceed 1.2 meters are required to be shored or cut back at the top, so the angle of the cut doesn't exceed 1:1. EKP Designs submitted a copy of the Committee of Adjustment decision for 45 Charleston Road, where one of the variants granted was a side yard setback of 1.2 meters with an aggregate setback of 2.4 meters rather than the 3.07 meters. Circumstances were different. There were bungalows on both sides with plenty of space and no gas lines in the side yard setbacks. There was undisturbed soil on both sides for at least 50 years. They still had to encroach on the adjacent property with their scaffold. When 47 Charleston built later, they had 2 newer built homes on both sides. They used shoring prior to excavation to ensure no cave-ins. The building process may be temporary, but the negative impact on adjacent properties can be long-term. The intent and purpose of this bylaw is to provide adequate space to build without encroachment, and this requested variance does not comply with the bylaw. The members of committee feel this bylaw is maintained. Please explain how.
You sure you have about, oh, you're done.
Done.
Sounds like you rehearsed your
Hey,
remarks.
12 seconds. Yeah.
Good for you.
Very good.
Panel, any questions or
Yeah,
comments?
I have a
for
question,
Mr. Clark?
actually. So you built your house at 37 Charleston.
Yes.
And what is the side yard setback between your house, your property, and
My side back,
35?
my side yard setbacks are 1.75 meters
On both sides?
on both sides.
On both sides. So that's also.
And that gave me like 14% more than the required aggregate side setback.
And that's also between your house and number 35.
Yes.
Okay, thank
And
you.
those houses would have equal side yards as you?
No. Right now, there's the one that's 39 Charleston is a bungalow. So there's at least 14 feet on that side from the property line. The other side's about 4 feet.
1.2.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, then now let's invite Christina Barr, who I also understand is here in person. No?
She's on the internet.
I'm here online. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. I opted to come online.
Okay, could you give us your name and address?
Yes. Good morning. My name is Christina Barr, and I reside at 40 Charleston Road, right across the street from the proposed building.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me. I've outlined my objection and concerns at length in my written submission, and today I'm here to emphasize the overriding concern that both the neighboring residents and I have cited regarding the setbacks of the proposed dwelling, which would necessitate encroachment onto the property located to the immediate south, which is 37 Charleston.
And Mr. Clark had much to say about the
Yes, he did.
side yard
Yes, he
setback,
did.
so, okay, if there's
Yeah,
anything.
very eloquently.
you or
So I'll be
something
paring
you-
down mine. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. It is my understanding that the revised set of plans were submitted after the closing of the deadline for submissions for today's hearing, and that this ostensibly changed the side yard setback from 0.91 meters to 1.22 meters for the area. However, the foundation wall is still set at 0.91, and Mr. Clark would have has addressed that. And our other concern, of course, with the setback is the overhang from the roof. Again, Mr. Clark did touch on that. Our concern is that the scaffolding is 3 feet, so this is going to necessitate access to 37. Our concern is, what assurances do the owners of number 37 have as far as the builder accessing their property and potentially damaging their property? The prohibition of access needs to be addressed, or it needs to be written into any approvals given to the applicant. And if there is any damage, the city needs to have the builder pay for the damages and to ensure that any mitigative measures need to be completed to the satisfaction of both the injured parties and the city. As cited within my letter, encroachment is prohibited by virtue of the building department's regulations. Builders are pushing the limits of our bylaws to circumvent the city's restrictions, and each time they receive an approval for a variance that is not minor in nature, a precedent is set. And by continuously allowing these precedents, the existing bylaws are rendered toothless. If a structure cannot be built without encroaching onto adjacent properties, then it is simply too big for the lot and permission should be denied. On a personal note, I'm appearing here because I experienced 2 different building projects on properties abutting my own, and it's my desire to ensure that no other family be subjected to that sort of blatant assault. In both cases, builders accessed my property and despite my repeated protests, both to them and to the city, the trespassing resulted in property damage. This necessitating me engaging legal counsel, which resulted in costs of in excess of $15,000. And why? And this is the crux of my concern. Why should any individual be required to defend their property and bear the burden of prohibitive legal costs and repair costs, particularly when the city is involved in the building approval process from cradle to grave, and they hold the key to enforcing existing bylaws and regulations? Builders need to be held accountable. Residents look to staff and to the Committee of Adjustment as a first line of defense from these sort of infractions and as the means to enforce the integrity of our bylaws. The wants of the applicant does not translate to the needs of the neighborhood. Or to take this one step further, the wants of a few should not take precedence over the needs of the many. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. If I could ask a question, maybe my colleagues have questions as well, but I'd like to ask you, can you tell us what the north side lot line setback is for your house?
I can't tell you, I don't have my plans. I know it was in keeping with regulation. I bought this house after, I've been here this year will be 26 years. There was an addition added to the house, and it's my understanding that it complied with building regulations at the time.
So was the house to the north built since you moved in? It appears it was.
Yes, it was, yeah.
Do
It was
you,
built after I moved in. I believe they've been there close to a decade.
do you recall if it required minor variances?
It did.
Did it require a variance to the south side lot line?
Yes, it did.
It did. So I'm guessing you're about 1.2 each.
They are less. They are less than that. They dug right into my property, destroyed the fence, came about 8 feet into my backyard and dug, exposed the underpinnings of my foundation.
Okay.
That is my concern. I just don't want to see another resident go through that sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay, panel, any other questions or comments? No? Okay, thank you, Ms. Barr. We'll proceed with our last speaker, Gabby Herman.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
You just repeat your name and give us your address, please, and then speak to us.
My name is Dr. Gabby Herman, and I reside at 33 Botfield Avenue in Etobicoke.
Can you tell us where Botfield is with respect to Charleston?
Yes, it's like it's Martin Grove, Ashbourne, Joplin, and Botfield. So it's like 5 blocks east of
Charleston.
Charleston. Yes, sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
And I know I'm out of the district and I don't live right there, but I do obviously know the neighborhood. And my concern is that this build is simply too big for the plot, whereas the plot is very suitable for to build a nice family home. And they said everything I wanted to say as far as the clearance and the setback. And I know they're worried about all of this happening. I firsthand lived through a new build at 35 Botfield, and when they were digging the foundation, we had a cave in, and when it went to repair it, the builder said, and I liked the builder, he was very good and conscientious, but there's scaffolding clearly to do I think there wasn't, as far as I know, a setback for the side. That wasn't one of the variances. They had their scaffolding on my property, and there was damage done that I had to pay to fix after they left. And so it's firsthand experience, and just as Christina had said, we're here simply to prevent someone else from going through something like this again, because who knows what will have happened to my foundation from here. We had a lot of issues as far as complete flooding of my backyard from their sump pumps, death of all the landscaping and things like that. A lot went wrong here, and it's scary. I saw the soil caving in. I lived through that, and if there's a gas line involved, it's just, it's scary. It's a gas line. As it was, they took down the hydro line with one of the backhoes, and the hydro was cut off for a while. Things happen, even though you're a very conscientious builder, which I was blessed by having. So, not to go over everything that I was going to say, but that is my point for safety reasons and for not putting these people through what I endured, even with a responsible builder that had a regular setback. It's impossible for them not to put a scaffold on your property, and they even put their fences, when they put their fences up for digging, and they dig right up to the property line to excavate, and then your dirt falls in, you have cave-ins, and it's just something. It would be nice to please don't let the gas line go in and help these people, because it's an awful experience. And that's all I'm going to say. I appreciate you letting me say this.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Herman. Panel, any questions or comments for Ms. Herman? I would just like to say that the building permit approval process should this application proceed. I'm not being presumptuous, but if it did, the building permit process would have a long, comprehensive list of items to address impacts on neighboring properties. I believe what you've said about your own experiences, but it's you know, who knows? There may have been some infractions in that process on that construction projects that you've been talking about. But the building permit process should protect against trespassing and damages. Anyway, we'll leave it at that, and we'll invite Mr. Unless, no, I already offered you that. Mr. Perez to rebut the 3 comments he's heard from Mr. Clark, Ms. Barr, and Ms. Herman.
Hello, Chairman, again. I was listening to what the neighbors had to say. As per 37, the gentleman, on his side, if you put up the site plan, you can see that we have 1.8 meters on almost the whole length of that side of the wall. The only part that we have 1.2 meters is where the garage is. The garage is only a 1-story flat roof. On that side, the scaffold won't be needed to go on the neighbor's property. And on the remainder, it's 1.8 meter. There won't be any scaffolding whatsoever on the neighbors. There won't be any encroachment whatsoever. And I'm confident on both sides that the scaffolds will fit on my client's property. You can get scaffolds that are 2 feet wide. You can also get them that are 3 feet wide. So they won't be encroaching onto the neighbor's property. And what we're proposing is very minor in nature. We don't have an overall coverage variance. We don't have any height variances. So I feel what's before you is very, meets the 4 tests, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. Panel, any questions or comments for Mr. Perez? So then let's go into committee for a motion.
So if there are none, I would like to move a motion for approval. I do believe the application meets the 4 tests, subject to the January 9th, 2026 tree protection and plan review conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Is there a seconder for Mr. Dalton's motion?
I'd be happy to say, I believe this is a neighborhood in transition. It looks like there are many, many new homes going up that are fairly large, substantial homes, 2 stories. And yes, I would like to second that motion.
Thank you. So we have a motion that's been seconded. All in favor? That's approved unanimously. Thank you,
Have a good day.
Mr. Perez, Mr. Clark, Ms. Barr, and Ms. Herman.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you. You too. Moving on to item 18. 160 Disco Road. Purpose is to construct a new detached self-storage building and to construct a new 1-story south side addition to the existing industrial building. There are 4 variances. We have a Metrolinx advisory. Community planning is satisfied with the application. We do have a presentation, but panel, is this straightforward enough that we do not require one? If you're okay, ma'am, you're Valerie Nassau?
Yes, correct.
Are you, this is quite simple and straightforward and easy to understand. Are you okay not presenting?
Yep.
And just being available to answer questions if we have them?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Perfect. So are there any questions, comments, concerns?
We don't have any advisories except the Metrolinx advisories.
You're good to go into committee? Then we're in committee for a motion.
I'll go for it. So based on the evidence provided, and given that the application or the applicant is currently working with city staff on a related site plan approval application, correct? Yes.
That's correct, yes.
I'd like to move a motion to approve the variance as being sought as it meets the 4 tests and there are no conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Is there a seconder for Mr. Dalton's motion?
I'm happy to second that motion.
Thank you, and all in favor? It's approved unanimously.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Moving on to item 19, 17 Warwood Road. Purpose is to construct a 3-story rear addition, a covered rear deck, an in-ground pool, and a cabana in the rear yard. There are 11 variances. Community planning is okay. We do have a presentation, and perhaps in light of the number of variances, it would help us to hear that presentation. If we could invite Alexander Overholt to present to us.
Good afternoon. Alexander Overholt from 1140 Queensway. How are you?
Good. I should have pointed this out to Smothers, but I see that you didn't register to speak to us today.
It was a last-minute registration. We had an issue with our previous speaker, so I had to step in.
Okay. All right, then, yeah, if you could, there are a lot of variances here. If you could just sort of walk us through your proposal, it might be helpful. Hopefully it'll be helpful.
I will do my best. Yes, as mentioned, we are pursuing 11 variances, and I'm happy to describe each one of them. As mentioned in the report from community planning, a handful of these variances are either existing conditions on site or technical in nature, and I'm happy to identify those for you so you understand.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
No problem. Of the 11 variances, 5 variances are actually existing conditions that we are either remaining untouched or just simply expanding upon. I shall list the existing conditions and their variances. The variance number 2 regarding the minimum required side yard setback. We are maintaining the existing left and right setbacks throughout the entirety of the depth of the building. We are not making any increase to those. The permitted height above the first floor, also an existing existing variances that we are maintaining. As most of our work is either interior alterations or rear addition. Variance number 7, which talks about the platform without main walls. The stories, that's also an existing condition. The landscaping variances, both the front yard minimum landscaping as well as the softscaping, variances 9, 10, are also existing conditions as well. The technical variances that we're faced with here is simply due to the establishment of the basement considered as a story because, of course, the midpoint, the ceiling height being larger than the established grade. Variance number 1, we are pursuing a GFA, which is technical. Because we are including the GFA of the basement, we are pursuing a 0.06 increase in the FSI, which is, again, technical. It is to be known that if we were not accounting the basement as GFA here, our FSI would actually equate to 0.034 for the first and second stories. Variance number 5, which talks about the permitted number of platforms in the rear wall. Again, because our basement is considered the first story, we have to account for the platforms which would be counted as a first floor as a second floor balcony, and so forth with the third floor. Variance number 6, again, technical in nature, because our basement, again, is being counted as the first story. The porch in the front on the first floor, or ground floor, you could say, is being counted as a second story platform in this case, and we do have the platform in the rear as well. Those are my identified technical variances. The rest are pursued as new variances. For example, the main wall height is a variance. It is to be known that we are pursuing 8.63 meters, which that 8.63 is allocated towards the rear of the property because we do have a front to rear grading condition. The main wall height that's identified in the front of the structure is actually 7.37 meters. It appears that planning has done the due diligence and has identified that in the report as well, which is phenomenal. Thank you for that. And of course, Variance number 8 is also a new variance we are pursuing. Again, as in our diagrams in our presentation, specifically if you looked at page 15, all of our platforms are aligned with the proposed setbacks of the dwelling. We're not trying to encroach further past any of the existing or proposed massing on site with our platforms. Hope I did a good enough job on providing clarification as to why there are so many variances and how the severity of these variances are either actually minimal because they're existing or just technical in nature. If you have any questions about this application because of the number of variances or the nuances associated with them, happy to address them.
Okay, so it sounds like you have 5 existing conditions, variances, 4 technical, and 2 new sort of, I guess, potentially impact type variances.
It's important to know that the existing main wall height in the front was measured to be 7.37, which was an existing variance. We're just simply expanding upon that a little bit by increasing the eaves height. New roof structures, the old roof's a bit outdated.
Okay. Are you okay with urban forestry condition 2?
Not a problem.
Good. All right, panel, questions or comments before we go into committee? None? Okay, then let's go into committee.
So with that, I'd like to move a motion for approval as in spite of the large number of variances, the application is straightforward and subject to the January 22nd, 2026 Environment, Climate, Forestry Condition number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Is there a seconder for Mr. Dalton? Thank you, Ms. Ruddock. All in favor? That's approved unanimously. Thank you, thank you, Mr. Overholt.
Take care.
You too. Okay, the final item on this morning's agenda is item 20, 246 ALDERCREST Road. Purpose is to construct a new detached dwelling and a garden suite in the rear yard. There are 6 variances. We have nothing on file, no agency comments or conditions, no correspondence from neighbors. Panel, are we content to treat this as simple and straightforward? Not requiring a presentation?
Because it's a garden suite, I would like to hear a brief presentation if that's possible.
You want a presentation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, Mr. Chair,
Let's
we
have
do
a brief presentation.
We do have some in-house speakers that would like to speak, area residents. So I think a presentation would be good for them.
Okay, I'm Rob Jeffries, the agent for the homeowner, 99 Bayfield Street, Barrie. There's 6 variances, 3 on the house, 3 on the garden suite. On the house side, the height variance, the house is proposed at 8.45. The allowed is 7.5, so we're over by 3 foot 1 inch. And that's in the old Etobicoke bylaw. I'm not sure why it's still in there, but it is, and that's pushed us over the height. I believe the new citywide bylaw is at 10 meters, so we wouldn't have a variance there. On the variance number 2 on the main wall, the proposed new house is going to be on the existing foundation, and we're adding a block to the existing foundation. So we're bringing up the house by approximately 8 inches, which is putting us over on the main wall, because that's on the variance, we're over by 7 inches. And then on the main entrance, the same, for variance number 3, it's the same item, because we've added the block, and we're 6.5 inches over on the main entrance. On the garden suite, we have put in the garden suite a storage room, and so we've added more square footage or square meters to the actual footprint of the garden suite. And we put the garden suite at 1 meter setback because of the storage room and because of the little larger square footage or square meters. So we're at 0.5 meters over the required rear yard setback, which is 1.7 feet. And then for the height, for variance number 2, we've put, number 2 is the 2-story portion. And so we built or designed a 2-story and a single-story on the garden suite. On the 2-story portion, we're over the required single-story because we're too close to the house on the single-story portion. So that's pushed us a little higher on the height restriction just because of the single-story. So that's triggered variance number 2 and 3. But we've designed the garden suite with a single-story, which is at 6 meters to the back of the to the proposed addition on the house, and then the 2-story portion is at 7.5 meters, which is the required setback for the 2-story portion. But because of the single-story portion, that's triggered 2 variances for the height.
Okay, thank you. So I know we have at least 1 or 2 questions from Ms. Alderson regarding the garden suite related variances, no?
I just wanted the presentation.
Okay. Okay, so are there any other comments or questions? So let's go into committee for a motion.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, we have some speakers in chambers that they would like to speak.
Oh, yeah. Mary Romero.
Good afternoon. My name is Mary Romero, and I am speaking on behalf of 244 ALDERCREST and 247 ALDERCREST. And I am also a resident of Alderwood for over 50 years.
Okay.
I don't have a presentation. I don't have stats. I'm just talking on behalf of our hearts. Number 1,
Sorry, did you give us your business address?
where I live?
No, well, you're just talking from a corporation or your own personal interest?
Oh, no, I don't have my own business. So
Okay.
I'm speaking
so
on
then what's your home address?
So I'm at 218 Beta Street
Okay,
in
thank you.
Etobicoke, which is
Go ahead.
just a
Yep,
street
go ahead.
over. We just have some concerns about this, and I'm glad that I came here so I can get additional information from the agent. One concern is that we are concerned that this new development will be potential for a rental or short-term rental. With a short-term rental, what happens? There's frequent turnover, there's unwanted visitors, and high level of noise and parking issues. Number 2, there's a strain on the local infrastructure. With more units, there's more demand on water, sewage, power, garbage pickup, and street capacity. Our neighborhood is an old Etobicoke neighborhood, and we feel that it's not designed for multi-unit loads, and we have experienced power outages. Number 3, increased traffic and parking pressure. Additional households mean more cars, potentially increasing street congestion. This can impact driveway access, street safety, and winter snow removal. When I talk about street safety, I'm concerned because of the children. There is a school called Lanner, which is north of ALDERCREST, and I'm just concerned about that. We already have an issue with too many cars on the streets. Number 4, we're concerned about the increased height. Speaking on behalf of the neighbors, having an increased height can overlook neighboring backyards, decks, and interior rooms. And we feel that with this added height, and there's low surrounding houses, it will impact our quality of life. This is all I have. Again, I have no stats, I have no variances, it's just straight from our heart.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
So panel, any questions or comments for Ms. Romero? Okay, then let's invite Mr. Jeffries back to rebut what Ms. Romero said.
No, I believe she was representing
Okay, sorry.
other two, so there's no more other
Sorry, I'm
speakers.
missing something here. If you can take your seat again, apparently we have other speakers.
No, there's no other speakers.
Mr. Jeffries.
Get my steps in today.
Glad your thighs are in good shape. So, what do you say?
Which points should I address? The rental, I believe we're looking for more rentals. There's garden suites are in your zoning bylaw. You can go and design garden suites, which we did. We took some of the design ideas off of, and some of the zoning requirements off of the website. Parking, I'm not sure it's something that we're to address here. We have allowed for spaces on the driveway. There is a detached garage now that's going to be removed, and the garden suite's going to go in its place, so we can accommodate parking very easily on the driveway. And as for the height, in terms of privacy, the height is established on the roof. We could lower the roof, keep the wall heights at the same height, and this privacy is still going to be the same. Unfortunately, it's still going to come out. We can just lower the slope of the roof, and that will reduce the height, and that variance would go away. So not sure if there's any other points there that need to be addressed.
So that would be variance
1, I believe, on the house.
4. So what would you reduce it to?
Sorry?
What height would you're talking about reducing the height. What would you be reducing it to? What numerical value?
Well, you just would reduce the roof slope to bring the roof house height down 3 feet, but the height of the walls and the privacy would still be the same.
Are you prepared to adjust variance 4 today?
It's up to the homeowner. I'm assuming he would, but
We shouldn't be dealing with revisions in the rebuttal.
okay. Leave it.
okay. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Jeffries? Comments?
I have one question, Mr. Chair. To be clear, if I heard you correctly, your client would be interested in renting the garden suite. Did I hear that right?
The first intent for the garden suite, he has a handicapped brother, which will be in the garden suite, and he'll be in the main house. This will allow the handicapped brother to have his own space.
Thank you.
Nothing else, panel? Let's go into committee then for a motion.
Okay, so with that, I'll take a stab at it. I would like to move a motion for approval, as I do believe the application meets the 4 tests and there are no conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Seconder?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Alderson. All in favor? It's approved unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we will now adjourn and return for the afternoon session at 1:30? 1 hour. 1 hour and 1 minute. You want 1:45? 1:45. That gives us 7 minutes to get there, 7 minutes to get back.
Yeah, and an hour to eat. Yeah, I find it restful.
Perfect.
Done too, but an hour is not long enough.
Okay. Don't forget to turn your cameras off.